Well, welcome everybody to our webcast on trading ThinkScript on Thinkorswim. Happy that you joined me here today. Mike is off, so I'm filling in for him. Today I want to talk about using ThinkScript, but doing no coding at all. So like ThinkScript for people who don't want to learn to write ThinkScript. But I have a couple things I think you're going to really appreciate and enjoy that kind of dips your toe into the world of ThinkScript without really writing a lot of code. Now, I have joining me in the chat, Kevin Horner. Kevin's had double duty today with me. Appreciate Kevin being here. He's here to answer any questions that I might miss or can't quite get to. He'll help me out with those, but I will be watching the chat, so as you have those questions, chat them into us. Now, I hope you are following Kevin and I on X. I'm Connie Hill CS. He is Kevin Horner CS. We'll post educational content out in our X account throughout the trading days, things we noticed we think you might find interesting or that we find interesting. We'll share them with you. All right, so don't miss out. It's free. It's easy to do. Let's go ahead and go through our disclosures, and I'll lay out our agenda for today. No coding here today. Let's see. What we talk about today is for information and educational purposes only. Don't consider it a recommendation. We'll be using the Paper Money software application. This is the most robust version of Thinkorswim. Past performance of any security or strategy does not guarantee future results or success. All right, we're actually not going to go there. I am going to jump over to Thinkorswim. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you something that Thinkorswim can do for you that you might not have seen before unless you happen to pick up on a mini short video that I did. Okay, I did a mini short video where I taught you how to allow the charting program to build a ThinkScript for you. Okay, it's going to do the building. We're not going to do the building. All right. So I have a pretty blank vanilla chart here, which we need. Now I'm going to come up here to the upper right-hand corner where it says patterns. And you're going to want to make sure you have it show patterns here. And then we're going to select on patterns. Now, some of you might be familiar with the idea that, oh, look, we can have it go find these price patterns for us. We can have it go find candlestick patterns for us, as well as Fibonacci patterns. Okay, so some of you might not have even realized that it would do this. We're going to come back to the candlestick pattern because we're going to build something here today. Let me close this for just a minute. How many of you are familiar with and like to use the hold as a potential entry point? A close above the high of the low day. Something we would use in an upward trending stock, and if we're trying to decide, is that a big enough balance for us, then we might look for that. And so essentially, oh, I lost my little pen. Here, let me grab it real quick. Essentially, we're defining what we want to see. So let's do this. Grab my little fancy pen. Hopefully it works today. So this is only an upward trending stock. So we see a stock, it's trending up, and then kind of makes a high point, and then it starts to pull back. Sometimes we'll see it in a full flag feature. Sometimes it doesn't pull back a ton to really maybe look like a flag. But as it pulls back and then it bounces up, then we're saying, okay, we want to identify the low candle, which one went the lowest, and then we want to see the next day, we want to see the price of the stock close higher than the high of the low candle day. Okay, so several of you do. Okay, some things are familiar to some of you, and some of you that might be a little bit, or maybe something you're not as familiar with yet. I'm going to show you an example of one. We're going to use CCL here. And I'm just going to kind of zoom in on, say, maybe like this part of the chart. Okay. And this is one that kind of stood out to me. So we have this nice run up, and then we have 1, 2, 3, maybe like 4 days of a little pullback here. And when it pulls back, it doesn't necessarily have to be a red candle or a down candle, but wherever it goes the lowest, we identify it as the low day, and then we want to see the next day close higher than it. So say this red candle's our low day here. The next day, it doesn't go any lower, so this candle stays our low candle. But did it close higher than the high point of the previous day? I don't think so. High here is 22.60. Closing price here is 22.43, so it didn't do it. The next day, visually, we can see, oh, it didn't do it either. But this day, finally, we have a closing price, because the closing price would be up here, and it is definitely higher than where our low candle is right here, that red candle. Okay, so those of you that aren't familiar with a hold, close above the high of the low day, now you know. And you can see just what it did in this particular one. Yeah, it took it a few days to actually do that, but sometimes it can happen pretty quick. Okay, let me see if I see a pretty quick one. Maybe we'll just come over here, maybe a little bit more recent times. Here's sort of a recent, this is sort of recent. We have kind of this little uptrend here. Here is the peak date, then it pulls back here, but then it gives a big gap down. Well, clearly this is the low candle, okay? The high this day is 31.20, and then the closing price here is 31.33. So yeah, it did close higher than the high of that low candle. That's why I say sometimes it can happen quickly, and sometimes it takes a few candles to actually get there. Yeah, so that low candle is the low candle. All right. Well, let's get into showing you how Thinkorswim could pick out for you the Caholts. Wouldn't that be nice if it just had an arrow show up on the screen to let you know? Well, we're going to do it. Let's come over here. We're going to go to Patterns. Again, we'll make sure the Show Patterns is showing. And then we're going to do Select Patterns. And we're going to come over here to Candlestick. Now, I have built some of these. You can see we have all these candlestick patterns it can find, but I've got a bunch here that say Cahold, Cahold 5, Cahold 6, where the script icon here doesn't have a lock on it, so it means that it's something we can change, and usually it means it's a custom script. Okay, well, I will show you how we do this. See this little icon right here that says create? It's going to allow us to create whatever candle pattern we want to see. It doesn't have to be a belt holder, an abandoned baby. It's going to be something else. It's going to be this Cahold. Now, if you want to follow along with me, you're welcome to. Okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to select on create here. And it's going to give us this interface that's going to allow us to say, hey, go find this kind of candle for me. So we're going to start out here by just kind of clicking on this candle right here. And then it says, well, what kind of a candle would you like it to be? An up candle, down candle, a doji candle. That's where the opening and closing price are the same. Do you want it to be mixed candles, meaning some bullish, some bearish? And so what we're going to do, we're going to choose an ascending trend here. And these little 3 candles here represent the ascending trend. There's a number 5 here and a number 5 down here, which tells us we're going to look for at least 5 candles. Now we can play with this number. We can go up 6, 7, 8. We can make that any number that we want. We're going to start out with kind of a basic one. We're going to go, say, 6 candles up. Let's see. Oh, Ricebird remembers something about this. Okay. Very good. So we're going to do 6 candles up. That's going to represent our uptrend. Then we're going to represent the pullback. Well, how many days is there in a Cahold pullback? Well, 2 to 5 days is ideal, but sometimes it goes longer than that, right? But we're going to kind of maybe paint a picture of the ideal. We're going to select here, and we're going to say a descending trend. Again, these 3 candles represent the descending trend, and it puts a 5 here. We're going to change it to 3. So we're going to look for 6 days up, approximately 3 candles pulling back. And then we need to identify our low candle and our candle that represents closing above the high of the low day. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to select here. We're going to do an, let's see, we're going to do a down candle here. And then we're going to do an up candle here. And then we're going to build in a relationship between this low candle and this close above the high of the low day. So in order for this one to be the low candle, we need its low price to be lower than the green candle's price. Now you're going to notice as I put my mouse over the candle, and it's kind of in tiny letters. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. Up here at the top of the wick is an H. That represents the high price of the day. Over here is what? An open. Represents the open of the day. Come down here to the bottom on a red candle, the close is at the bottom, so there's a C. And then there's an L right at the bottom of this little wick on the downside. So we're going to use these relationships, the high, open, close, low, on the red candle and the green candle. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the closing price of the green candle, and we're just going to click on that, and then we're going to see how I clicked and I started to drag, and it creates this little string. Okay, and then we can take the string anywhere we want. We want to take it to the opening price, we can. We want to take it to the low price, we can. We're going to take it to the high price, and then we're going to put in our relationship. And in our relationship, we want that high price to be greater, that closing price rather, to be greater than the high of the red candle. Okay, so we're putting in that relationship that way. Now, we also need to make sure that this is the low candle. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put a relationship between this low of the green to the red candle. So click, drag, and then we want this candle low to be greater than the red candle's low. Okay, now you can see kind of down below here, it starts building this logic. Okay, the low of number 3 candle is less than the low of number 4 candle, and the high of number 3 candle is less than the close of number 4 candle. So we have a closing price here that is higher than the high of the low day, and we can tell that's our low day. Okay, that's going to find our Cahold for us. Pretty cool. I'm going to show you something here. We're in what's called Condition Wizard. And did we write any code? We actually did. We wrote some code. ThinkScript editor is here, and it did the coding for us. We did not have to do anything. We don't have to know what the plot is or the definition or anything. And it did the code for us. So I didn't lie to you. I said, we're going to write some code. We're going to create some ThinkScript without writing the code because it did it for us. Okay. Next, we want to give it a name. Now, I have several Caholds, but I'm going to build another Cahold here. And I'm going to call this Cahold. I've got some different numbers on there. I don't think I'm using number 9, so I'm going to go with number 9. We're going to call it Cahold 9. And then we get to say, well, what icon do we want it to show us on the chart? Well, I think it's convenient to show an arrow, to show an up arrow where we get the Cajold candle. So we're going to choose an up arrow. And the default color here is pink. Now we can keep pink. I don't mind pink. Pink is fine. But what we're going to do here, I kind of associate pink with down or like red. So I'm going to change the color here, and we're going to give it, I want it to be kind of a fluorescent color so it shows up good on the black. So we're going to choose that green color. That's kind of like Kermit green. Going to call it the green color. Now, at this point, if you, at this point, I can share this with you, okay? Remember, anytime we share scripts, they're not guaranteed as to accuracy or timing. But I don't really want you to use it, what I'm going to send you, because I want you to go learn to build it. But I will still share it with you, okay? So I'm going to do share. Those of you that are here live will be able to get it. Those of you that are listening to this on a recording, I'll try to find a place to put it on for you too. All right, we're going to go ahead. We're going to hit save. There we have our Cajold. Now, there's one thing in the creator that we were just using that it doesn't allow you to do, and it doesn't allow you to put the size of that green arrow. So I'm going to come in here. We're going to go on the gear, and you're going to see, okay, yep, it's looking for an up arrow at the low point. And so on the width, we're going to change that to a 5, okay, because I want it to be fairly big. So there's, let's see if we get any back here. Let's go ahead and let's see here. We've got a green arrow here. That looks like it's after a little pullback, and then it's pointing to, let's zoom in here. It's pointing to this green candle, and kind of visually we can see, oh yeah, that definitely closed higher than this low candle here. There was another one back here. Let's kind of back up. Maybe I need to zoom out a little first. Clear down here. So we have the series of the candles, and this was a little bit interesting because this one, we have our pullback and our low is here, but the red candle, it does not close higher than the high of the low candle day, which is this one. So this one stays the low candle day. And then it identifies this candle here. It's the one that finally closed higher than the high of our low candle day here. That makes sense? Let me see what kind of questions you've got here. I wanted to get through a little bit of this first. Chris, do we need to specify that number 3 is lower than the series 2? You know, I haven't thought of that. Let's go back there and look at that, Chris. Do we need to specify that this low is lower than this? You know, I hadn't thought of that. I don't know. I don't think it'll allow us to, because if I put my mouse here, it doesn't give us the high-low close open because it's a series of candles. So it's not going to allow us to do that. But that is an interesting thought. Can this work for drawing tools? Stanley, can this work for drawing tools? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Stanley. But yeah, you can allow it to put the arrow on your screen, but I don't think that's really what you meant. Patito says, can this be associated, can we associate this to an alert when it triggers, send a notification? Ooh, that would be pretty cool. That is not something I've experimented with either. But a very interesting thought. I'll have to think about that one. Okay. Ricebird said you followed along this one and it's working. Okay. Kelly says, it says descending trend. You mean right here, this little guy? Yeah, this is the pullback of our 3 candles. Okay, so our uptrend, our little 3-day pullback, low candle, close above the high of the low candle day. So Kelly, not sure where that fits exactly. Oh, I forgot to hit send on the share here. Okay, remember, not guaranteed as to accuracy or timing. Well, let's do a couple of other things here. Do you suppose there could be some variations in looking at a hold? Maybe a hold could be 5 days out and 2 days back. Maybe it could be 7 candles up and 3 candles back. Yeah, it very well could. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And if we wanted, we could do several renditions of this. Now, I'm not going to take the time to do all of that, but I will show you what I did. Okay. Now that you have the idea, go ahead and we're going to hit save again here. And if I come back over here to candlestick, and I showed you I had some different ones. My hold 7, if I click on the script here, is I put the 7 there because it's 7 candles going up. And then I did 4 candles going back. Okay. It has the pink arrow on it because it's just didn't save that. Well, I didn't save the color to be something different when I created it. But I'll just go ahead and leave it pink here, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to hit save, and I should add it as well. Oops. I needed to double click on the name. And then I'm going to come in here again, and I'm going to make it bigger because when it's a 1, it is like a really dinky arrow. It's super dinky. And we'll say, okay. Now let's just notice if it finds holds that are the 7 ones, 7 periods up and 4 periods back. Oh, there's quite a few. 1 here, 1 here. And so even though they're a different number of candles, representing that uptrend and the pullback, you could identify it that way. Now, the other thing you could do is you could say, well, I always want all of these holds that I create, I want all of them to be the same color. You could do that, right? You could go in here and you could make all of them green if you wanted to. Okay, so it's just going to depend on your personal preference. Maybe for simplicity, it might be a nice idea to have them be the same color, but you can do whatever you want. Okay, now, what about the opposite of a hold? What's an opposite of a hold? A close below the low of the high day, right? So those, again, maybe not familiar with it. Let's find an example of this. So a close below the low of the high day is typically found in stocks that are pulling back, right? And so you look for a series of, say, some down, and then you're trying to identify, well, does it go up anywhere, right? Let me find a good one here. Let's back out a little bit. I bet we can find something through here. So a descending trend. And then when we see the run up, we see, well, where's the high day? In the little run up, it's not changing trend. It's just running a little counter to the trend. And then we look for where is the high candle. So say through here, this looks like it's going up for 5 days. This one that's also a doji is the high candle. And so we're looking for a closing price that's lower than the low price of the high candle day. So low price here, 29.63. Now visually we can see it closed below that. It closed at 29.44. So this would be our close below the low of the high candle day. We'll refer to that. Yeah, Kelly's typed it in here. A KBLOD is kind of the acronym that we use for that. Okay. Oh, Kevin has an idea here. Might be able to scan using this pattern. Ooh, didn't think about that. See, there's so many things we could do even beyond here. Well, let's just do a little reinforcement. What we're doing here, let's go build the KBLOD, okay? And this will go a little bit faster because I'm not going to tell you every little detail. And in your mind, as I'm doing it, I want you to be thinking, how would you do it? Okay, would you do the same thing? So let's come over here. We're going to go candlestick. We're going to go create. And we're going to do the opposite of what we did. So we're going to start out here with a descending trend. Default's going to be 5 candles. And then we're going to do an ascending trend that we're going to make be smaller on the lower number of candles than we had on the descending trend. So how about on this? Why don't we go on the descending trend? Let's go 7 candles. And on this uptrend, let's go 4. Okay, so we have 7 candles going up. A little run back up, but not a change of trend. And then we're going to put in here, we're going to put in our high and our low candles. Let's see something here. And so we're going to do the green candle, the up candle first. And then we're going to put in the low candle. So we'll make this one be the down candle. And now we're going to build in the relationship again. Okay, so if this needs to be our high candle day, we want this high to be higher than this high here. Okay, so we're going to make a relationship this high to this high. So I kind of like starting on the second candle, but you can start on either one actually. And click and drag that high to that high. And we're going to want this to be greater. No, we don't. We want this to be lower. Let's see. No, that's not the, I need to maybe reverse direction. Let's go. Let me delete that one. And let me draw it in here. I'm going to start with the green candle. I'm going to go green over here to the red, to the high, and then we're going to say, yeah, we want the green candle to be greater. There we go. Then the high of the red candle to indicate this is our high candle day. And then what are we going to do here? We're going to have the low here. We're going to have it be higher than the closing price here. Oh, that didn't drag for me. Let's try it again. Low to close. And again, we're going to put a greater than so that we know the closing price on this candle is higher than the low price of the high candle. Okay, that's going to be our kablode. And I don't have as many kablodes. Close below low. Well, let's keep the caps on. Close below low, up, high day. And here, I kind of associate, oh, that name has already been used. Let's do kablode 7. I'll start with the 7 candles up. That's what that 7 will represent to me. Again, we're going to use an arrow, but you could use a wedge. You could use a little point. The point is, I think, hard to see. The biggest one is the arrows. Okay, so we're going to go in down arrow. And let's just make this some bright red. Maybe I'll just use the default red that it comes with. Let's just go this red here. Okay, that's going to be our down candle. Let's go ahead. We're going to hit save. We're going to go in and change the size of it again. I'm going to make it 5 so we can see it well. And we're going to hit apply. And let's see if we have any red candles here that look like a close below the low of the high day. Right here in this section, we can see kind of a drop down from here, a run up. So this is our ascending line here, not really changing the trend. But then visually, can you see, oh yeah, this red candle definitely is closing lower than, this is our high day. So the low of this high day definitely closed lower than it. See if there's another one in here. I think there's one over here to the right. Oh, there's a couple of them. Let me back up a little. Yeah, I actually like how that one is pretty good. That one turned out pretty good. Oh, that's a green arrow, not a red arrow. Let's see. Maybe that's the only red arrow we had generate on this one. No wonder I like it so well. It's the only one. Should we try another stock? Let's try. Let's try apple. I'm curious what it has. It actually did point out the close below the low of the high day here. You see that red candle there? This one, let's see this one. That does look like our high candle. Well, actually, that isn't our high candle. The high candle is here. This one didn't close lower than that low point, but it finally did on this day. So that's why that one is putting the red candle or the red arrow right above that red candle there. That makes sense? Can we see a different color of doji candle versus the in the settings? Is that what you mean? You can. I think you can change the color of the doji candle. If we come up here to settings, appearance, it's in this area where we're saying up, down, green, doji is gray. So, okay, what you could, if you wanted, make it violet. I don't know if we'll see any violets in here, but we did in the, I clicked on that probably a little too fast. So in the example, see how it kind of changed the doji to purple? Yeah, so you can do that. All right, now next up, I want to do this. I want to put all my caholds on all my coblodes on. I just wanted to find all of them, all the variations, okay? So we're going to come back here to our patterns. We're going to go back to our select patterns. We're going to go to our candlestick, and we're going to add on some of the different variations we haven't added on here. So we've got here just our cablode. Let's see. Yeah, our cahold 9, our cahold 7. Let's get our regular cahold. Let's get our cahold 6, our cahold 5. And we have already 9 and 7. Okay, so we're going to do that, and then we're going to add our cablodes as well. So here's my original cablode, and then the one we just created was 7. I think this cablode 6 has 6 candles. So we didn't recreate that one, so let's go ahead and add this over here. Now, again, if you want to be very precise about what colors they are, you could go in and put them in as different colors or all the same colors. So let's do this real quick. Cahold, it's green, it's 5, we're going to keep it. Cahold 7 is pink. We're going to change it to, what color of green was that? Oh, it's not there. I want to be uniform. Okay, so the bright Kermit green, like I put on this one. Okay, let's make this bright Kermit green. Or I'll just do mint green. Mint green will be faster. We have too many that we need to do. Regular cahold, a 5, and mint green. And then this cahold, 5, and mint green. Okay, cahold. This last one, cahold, let's make it a 5, and again a green. So they're all different variations of a cahold, right? Number of candles up, number of candles back is just a little bit different because that's what we see in the charts. They're sometimes a little bit different from each other. Now on the cablodes, let's make sure all of these are kind of a downish color, like a reddish. Okay, so here, again, we're going to make it 5. We're going to make it red. And we're going to save that. And we're going to do the same thing here. That one's already red, so we'll keep it as a 5 and make that a 5. All right. So now we have just greens and red candles. With the slight variation that some of these I made it, the first one I made it kind of that pinky color, and then we've got red. And then we've got the fluorescent green and fluorescent green, the red, the fluorescent green. There's a Cajold, there's a Kablode, there's another Cajold. Interesting. Okay, so let's see. Megan, what was Megan asking here? Can we select different colors of the doji candle? So we did that. Kevin explained that as well. Now, what if we were to save this? Riceword was saying maybe we save this as a study so we can use it in a scan. Let's do a couple of things here. Typically, I would save it in a style personally. And remember, when you do a style, we can do it as a study as well, but when you do it as a style, it remembers everything. So it remembers the color of the arrows and the size of the arrows, and that we're in a black background, and that I'm using a candle trend. Remembers all those characteristics of what does it look like, okay? So I'm going to do a style, and I'm going to say save style. And this one, I'm going to call, get the caps back on. I'm going to put my Cajold, Kablode, close below, low of high day, candles. Okay, that's what I'm going to call it. Include the patterns in that, of course. And they'll do the same thing. Let's save it as a study. Add, let's say, save study stat. And I think I'll just name this one Cajold candles, but I know it's both. Okay, Cajold candles. We can save it there. Then there is the possibility, I haven't played with it or experimented with it, to maybe use that as a custom study when you're doing the scan. So that is a possibility. Oh, Kevin tried it out here. You set it up as a scan. It does come back under the studies. Perfect. You guys are thinking the right things. Now, we're clearly using ThinkScript here. We just made, how many ThinkScripts have we been working with here? However many we've got here, 7 or 8, right? And we didn't write anything, right? We just did the condition wizard, and then it went ahead and made the ThinkScript for us. All right, I can see there's going to be a lot of possibilities that you can use here. Now, again, you can save it as, if you wanted to, maybe there's a favorite study set that you like to use, maybe a few moving averages, but you also want the arrows on there. You could go back, recreate that as a style, and do that, okay, without blowing away the candles. All right, any other questions that have come through? You guys have had some great questions here. All right. There's always a little bit of a delay between what I say, but when I say something and you get the opportunity to respond to it, okay? So I'm going to give you a chance to just ask any other questions that you might have here. There are other ways that you can use ThinkScript without having to code, okay? You can do moving average crossovers. Mine was not working today for some reason. I wanted to show you that too. Trader Joe says, can we share this script to this? Yeah. What if I share the whole chart? Let's just share the whole chart. And then you can see in here, this contains custom ThinkScripts, blah, 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 blah. Do you want to share it with the chart? We're going to say yes. Share everything on the chart. And those of you that are here in the live class, I'm going to post it in there to the chat. Those of you that are listening to this on the recording, let's put it in a text box for you here so that you can easily have this. Now, I'm going to make it a little prettier, maybe consistent, right? Consistent green color, consistent red color. It's probably the one thing that I would change about that. But you can do it however you would like. All right. So I hope that you've enjoyed this little bit of dealing with ThinkScript without actually having to write code. Now, a couple of things. One, I don't think there's a survey out here today. If there is, Kevin will post it again. but I haven't noticed one. But if this was helpful to you today, hit the like button on the way out. Make sure you're subscribed to our Trader Talks channel so you can find our content. You know, I subscribe to a lot of different podcasts, YouTube channels. And when you subscribe, it just makes it so much easier to find what you're looking for. And so it's free, doesn't cost you anything to go ahead and subscribe. Here's our class here. Bright and early in the morning, Kevin Horner is going to be there with the Trader Talks in Today's Markets with James Boyd. The focus there is ETFs. You have to be there live to catch that class, okay? So keep that in mind. And then, of course, it makes it easy for you to see, you know, our playlist. Now, the one thing I was going to show you here in our bite-sized content is that was the last one that I showed here. Let charts find the custom candle patterns. And on this one, we just did a Cahold. I'll probably do a shorter one that's just the close below the low of the high day because some people have requested that specifically. They might not notice this particular class. So that'll be the next one we come up. Let's see what's the last one Kevin did here. Let's see. Well, that's not Kevin. Oh, my arrow went away. Okay, we'll do play all. We'll see where Kevin is. Let's come down. There's Kevin, top-down scan. Looks like the most recent one that Kevin contributed here. It's only 3 minutes and 34 seconds. So it's nice to be able to find that kind of content easily when you're a subscriber to the website. All right, you guys, turning you loose. I want you to have some fun with that. You know, if there's other candle patterns, like you get the idea of the Cahold, but there's other candle patterns you like to look for that maybe are not on that list, now you know how you can go in and just custom build your own pattern and test it out. If you guys write something fun, feel free to send me a post on X or post a comment in here to the YouTube comment section. I'd be interested to see what creative things you've come up with. All right, you guys, have a great evening. We'll be back live. Kevin will be tomorrow, first thing in the morning at the opening bell. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.